Yeah,
Thanks
I'm okay.
everyone for joining. So I'm so excited to welcome you all for the amazing session. So the topic is shifting data gravity to fabric on lake with the data factory by our Sunil Sabat sir and Amit Chandak. Thank you all for joining. So coming to our event, so it is a Microsoft Analytics Conference 2025. We are the Hyderabad Data and AI community, along with the India Microsoft Fabric user group, are super excited to host you all, guys. After an amazing first edition and some energetic offline events across the cities, we are back with our second global virtual conference here. We have around like 50 plus global speakers across the globe, and we had amazing real world use cases. Yes, let's get started. So before we begin, we have a quick reminder, guys, about the Ask the Expert contest. Please post your questions along with your registered email in the format that I'll be sharing in a while soon, guys. So have your questions ready while the session is going on. I'm super excited to welcome our speakers. We welcome two distinguished leaders in the data space to today's session, shifting data gravity to fabric on lake with Data Factory. Sunil Sabat sir brings a unique blend of technical expertise and business acumen with a strong background in enterprise data management, governance, and analytics. Joining him is our Amit Chandak Chief Analytics Officer at Canarica and a Microsoft Data Platform MEP. Renowned for his leadership in business intelligence and his impactful contributions to the data community. Together, they'll be sharing valuable insights on centralizing and streamlining data movement using Microsoft Fabric. Please join us while we give a warm welcome to Sunil Sabatji and Amit Chandagri. Thank you so much for joining. So, handing over it to you both.
Thank you. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Thanks, Sunil. Thanks for be with us. Always be supportive on community events. I really appreciate. So me and Sunil are going to discuss this today, shifting the data gravity to the OneLake with Data Factory. But we'll encourage you ask more questions. Sunil is from the team which is part of the development of Microsoft Fabric. So it's a great opportunity to ask some of the questions for which you might be waiting and still get remained unanswered. During this event, we have some wonderful sessions. I think we supposed to have 59 sessions. We'll end this conference with 58 sessions. Hopefully the next two session goes on. And this is the 56th and 57th sessions right now going on, two of the sessions. So hopefully whatever questions are remaining, just give it here and we will try to address as much as possible. So I think this session will again start from little beginning. We do talk about the unified platform for AI transformation. So Microsoft Fabric has been in talk for last 1.5 2 years, and it's now really picking up with a lot of people talking about it and development is happening. This is the AI world. We wanted to AI to work for us. We wanted AI driven application. We wanted to use Copilot to give us answers. To have a good AI, what you need is a solid data foundation, and this solid data foundation is one where which Fabric is coming in BI world. We used to say garbage in, garbage out. And here we say, you have bad data, bad AI. To get a good AI, you need good data. And to get that good data, you need a platform where you have to do the minimal amount of task with maximum amount of outcome. So you need a platform which allows you each and every place, low code, no code, or with the help of Copilot, you are able to code so that citizen developers or the business users can also contribute to the development. And with that philosophy, Microsoft Fabric has been developed. So it's not only a no code, low code platform, but it also been designed to work unified across lakehouses, warehouses, Dataflow Gen 2, Power BI, real-time analytics, data science, data engineering. You take a name in the data world, what you wanted to do, you can do it in Microsoft Fabric. As I always say, there are three things minimum, and there are many things which has been done. Like three things which we mainly go to highlight at this point is OneLake, which is the one lake across your entire tenant, and your regional aspects are covered at the workspace level. This is your complete storage, and we'll talk about it in the next slide furthermore. Then for the entire Fabric platform, you can use one single compute. Means you are running Data Factory, you are running analytics, you are running SQL databases, any kind of analytics you are doing, or real-time analytics or Power BI, you can use a single compute. That's practically possible. But if you want to use multiple compute, and there are patterns, how should I use multiple compute? I should use department by department. I should use workload by workload. I should use separate for ETL and separate for Power BI. And all these things are taken care, and there are design patterns around it. Like if you want to use for separate for Power BI, there is a design pattern. This has already been discussed in one of the YouTube video, and this has also been discussed in some of the documents which is available. With that, you have the single compute, or you can use multiple compute as you wish. Again, workspace level, you can control that. And then you have the format of the data, which is anytime the data is saved in a structured format, it is saved in one single format, that is data. What does that do is basically you don't need to duplicate your data. You just have only one format. Power BI can read from that format. Data warehouse can write in that format. Lakehouse can write that format. Dataflow Gen 2 can write down. Data pipeline can write down in that single format. So with this, the platform has been, only exception here is database, SQL database, which is basically for OLTP, online transaction processing system, which is for your AI app. You wanted to develop a transactional application, then definitely Delta is not the format. So then how would these things work together? So what happens? It actually saves in a format which is optimized for insert, update, and delete, but it immediately creates a Delta replica for you so that you can work on real-time analytics with all other data of your analytics, which is present in lakehouses, warehouses, or other places. So this is the overall summary of the platform. And then OneLake for all your data, OneDrive of data. Why we call? Because if you remember, OneDrive basically is a concept where you are going to save all your documents, Excel sheet, PowerPoints, all kind of things you save there. Same concept is here. Every kind of data, metadata, whatever is present, you are going to save it in OneLake. Or you can create shortcuts from other places. You can mirror and bring in data, but it's going to live in one virtualized lake for your entire tenant, that is OneLake. Before I go into the details, I just wanted to ask Sunil, I have one question, and if you want to add something before it.
No, I think you're doing good. So again, I'd like to say that yes, OneLake is the foundation of this is where we're trying all your workloads to a single repository. And as Amit said, this capacity model, right? Single capacity, multiple capacities. So this is the way we are envisioning what is the new analytics platform in a SaaS environment should look like. So this session is all about how we bring the data to OneLake, right? So let's go ahead.
Sunil, I have a question here. Like people do
Sure.
ask us, is it a kit? Is Microsoft providing us a kit, or it is more than that?
No. So again, right? So Microsoft Fabric is completely new, right? Only attachment to Azure is, your capacity, right? Right. Everything is a SaaS environment, right? So we have to reimagine pipelines. We have reimagined data warehouse. So we reimagine everything is new. Our idea is just like Office or OneDrive, right? You don't have to go anywhere else. Everything is in OneLake.
As Sunil said, it's a reimagine. So it's not just a kit of services from Azure. It is basically the rework which has been done. The entire foundation has been created as a single SaaS foundation on top of this integrated OneLake, where all the workloads can read and write from here one place with the minimal copies of data we can work. So everything when we imagine in Microsoft Fabric is targeted that you don't have to replicate your data. You don't have to duplicate your data if it is not required. The only place we do replicate the data or duplicate when it is most required. So that's the basic philosophy around this OneLake foundation. So that's what, again, this is coming in the same slide, one copy for all the components. So think about previous scenario. What used to happen? You used to do all your hard work to create that gold copy. Let's say you kept that gold copy on Azure Synapse, Azure SQL, or Cosmos DB. Now you come to Power BI, and what you used to say, Power BI works best with import mode. So what does that mean? You have to import the entire data on Power BI. You have to create one refresh for that. And even though that could be a very simple refresh, you do have to have some time allocated to that particular refresh. But here in Microsoft Fabric, what happens is the technologies understand each other. So if I save a structured data in Lakehouse, the warehouse understand it. It's the same delta format. On the same delta format, Power BI can work. It can read the same delta data using the direct lake mode, and it can work on that. So what is happening here is we are not creating or duplicating the data just for the sake that one technology don't understand the other technology. Everything is the same delta format file, and each engine is either can read or write or can do both to make sure that we had the minimal copies of data, or we have one single copy of data which can be used for the purpose. So your raw data, you can create the report as soon as it arrives. The gold data, as soon as it's created, is report ready. We are just creating model in Power BI and measures in Power BI, semantic models, nothing more than that. So now comes the important part, what we wanted to discuss today, how we are going to get data into the OneLake. And we have various options, and these options are increasing day by day. So first of all, we have multi-cloud shortcuts. We have Google, we have AWS, Azure. There are many such cloud shortcuts, even you have short. So these shortcuts would help you in something that you don't have to bring data physically into the Microsoft Fabric. You can just look at the data present there. Now, if we, within Azure, even the cache, there is no intelligent cache which is required. But if it is outside Azure, definitely there is intelligent cache required, so that we reduce the hits you are going to do on the sources. Because when you run a query and it's a shortcut, it means ultimately it's going to go to the sources. So to avoid that, we create intelligent cache here. But if it is also ADLS Gen 2, OneLake is ADLS Gen 2. If you're saving data on ADLS Gen 2, we can treat it natively. Mirror database is another good feature. Now here, what happens is, let's say when you have Azure SQL or when you have Snowflake, in such cases, what happens is basically you can use the feature of mirroring. In case of mirroring, you don't need to take care of how my incremental data is going to come. Everything is taken by Microsoft inside this one. The good thing is the space is free based on your capacity. If you're on F2 capacity, you get 2 terabyte. If you're on F64 capacity, you got 64 terabyte. One of the customer was telling me, we want mirroring for this particular database. I asked you why you need mirroring. You can bring it using copy job. He said, if I bring using copy job, I have to pay for the data I'm saving in Fabric. If you give mirroring, I don't have to pay for that much data. So such of the innovative things customers are asking for. And see, they are in order basically. If you can create shortcut, you have to create shortcut. If you can do mirroring, the second best option. Then the copy job, the new one, where you have the CDC support, very good CDC support, just very similar to mirroring, but this is limited. With basically, you can choose what you want, and then you can bring data in, change data capture model. And then you have event streaming for live data. You have Dataflow Gen 2, which supports maximum number of sources. 200 plus sources are supported by Dataflow Gen 2, and Dataflow Gen 2 not only can bring in the data, which with the fast copy, which is a new thing over Dataflow Gen 1 or Power Query, it can transform the data also. You can do tons of transformation before bringing in data into the lake houses or warehouses. And then we have the pipelines, very similar to Azure pipeline world, and very similar kind of components which we have. And it is catching up really fast. Copy data activity is going to become one of your favorites, followed by, loops, until, for each. Then you have notebooks. You can call notebooks. You can call Dataflow Gen 2. Everything you can call here, including some of the Azure pipelines. It is basically for orchestration. So I'm not going to create one Dataflow Gen 2 and going to run that separately and another Dataflow Gen 2 separately or notebook separately or copy data separately. I'm going to create a pipeline of my entire data state, which need to run together and then finally put them into one place and going to run it. And that is how I'm going to orchestrate. Sunil, you want to add something here?
Yeah. So I'd like to add here that again, going back to the session, right? So Data Factory is a tool, like, how to use it. So Data Factory kind of touches all these points, right? Data Factory includes Dataflow Gen 2. Data Factory, the mirror database, mirroring is part of Data Factory, okay? Even the pipeline is a core component, right? Even with the event stream, if you go to Event House, our real time, you can get the continuous data with the pipeline, which is again part of Data Factory, right? Copy job, copy activity are part of Data Factory, right? So and working with the shortcuts, right? Getting data from shortcuts or managing that also. So Data Factory can work with the shortcuts. So Data Factory on the whole is workload, right? It kind of is a central point, right? To go. This is kind of the vehicle to manage all your data, how you land it into the factory in an organized or orchestrated in a business flow centric manner. We'll go more in patterns later. Yeah.
And this is, all road leads to OneLake. So wherever you have the data, the entire objective here is that you would be able to analyze it in Microsoft Fabric with minimal amount of effort to bring in the data, to take care of CDC without creating unnecessary copies, using the one copy concept and using best of the technologies available to insert, transform, and analyze. Whether you want to analyze using books as a data scientist, whether you want to analyze as a business, Power BI, or whether you want to use as a citizen developer or as a management, you just want to ask the question using data agents, which is the latest addition. Everything is at all roads are going to lead to OneLake. I would like Sunil to add more context.
Yeah, as Amit, as you said, right? So yeah, all the roads, lead to, OneLake, and as you see in the bottom layer, right? There is a multi-cloud play, right? Including, Google, AWS, right? In fact, Snowflake, and we are bringing in, more such connected a data factory as a workload, right? Within Fabric, I'm part of the product group, right? We want to be multi-cloud source and destination. We want to support as many connectors, as many APIs as possible, so that you can bring in the data. So we are we want to be we want to double down on that. And in this world of AI, right, more data you get, more sheet data you get quickly, right? As long as actually I have a chart, right? How can you orchestrate your model development, your training, your actually even preparing for inference, right? Everything can happen, right? But you need good data in an organized, in a secured, and in a governed manner. All that data has to sit in OneLake.
Okay, while before moving forward, I'll take up one question which Vishal has asked. World example of migration of disparate data sources into Microsoft Fabric OneLake, and how did you address challenge of schema drift, performance bottleneck, maintaining data lineage, and during the transition? So one of the best thing with Microsoft Fabric is that lineage is completely visible end to end. From your source, what pipeline has taken, what Dataflow Gen 2 has taken, where it went after, which lakehouse, which SQL endpoint, which report, the entire lineage is visible. So that's the best part of it. Second is we bought sources from SAP, we bought sources from SQL, we bought sources from SharePoint, we bought it from every places. Data factory is the key. Yes, when we started SAP, it was a little early. So we did use Dataflow Gen 2 at that time, because at that time only support for the SAP was at Dataflow Gen 2. But yes, now data pipeline support, and it does support on-premise, because our SAP was at an on-premise wherever we were working. And I'll tell you, we worked on some of the architectures, which is most of the people, if you go and ask, they will not give you example. We worked on lakehouse warehouse architecture, where we were bringing the data to the lakehouses, and after that we use warehouse as the gold layer. There are challenges where lakehouse and SQL endpoint was not syncing as fast as warehouse, and we did manage to overcome that, and still these implementations are working really good. T-SQL is handling tons of load with the millions of rows of data daily getting updated and updating and inserting. It gives a real good performance. So it's not only the lakehouse architecture, which is something which we also implemented in some of our project, where the complete bronze, gold, bronze, silver, gold is completely lakehouse. The entire ETL is in PySpark. We have done that kind of, and I'm telling you that also gives real good performance, because Spark can extend anywhere to that. But yes, depending on the size of the customer, T-SQL versus Spark is the choice we do take, and we do implement different patterns, special patterns, which I always remind people to take care about. You should know how shortcut need to be used to take care of your Power BI workload separately. There is a video around it. There are articles around it that, when you create the shortcut lake, it uses that particular workspace capacity. What does that means is, even if my data is lying in some other capacity, and even that capacity shut down, this shortcut lake will continue to work on second capacity, looking at the data for which the capacity is already shut down. And if I create a shortcut lake into a different workspace and create a semantic model and report following that, then I am able to use two capacities. I am able to separate out my data ingestion process and data consumption process. There was a customer specifically initially asking that my ETL only takes 3 hours. I'll buy a separate capacity, run it only for 3 hours, and Power BI reports will get consumed entire day. I'll have a separate capacity for that. It is possible like that. But yes, there are different patterns. There are customers who will say, I will have separate capacity department wise. There are customers who have five capacities. So there are patterns. So when you understand this thing well, you'll be able to create that pattern, and you will be able to overcome those performance bottlenecks. So Spark is the best suited for ETL if you wanted to go ahead and use that.
So again,
Sunil,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I like to add just only thing, right? If you want to use SCD1, SCD2 pattern, and you can use the PySpark notebook, right? As Amit said, right? All that you can orchestrate, right? Using pipeline. Customers are deploying in production right now. Okay. See, the point is, is you have to handle late coming data, right? You have to do a schema check, right? Then you have to do the ingestion, right? And the bronze. Then you do the merging or clean up in the silver, right? And then you create shortcuts to or whatever to the gold layer, right? And so data factory in that whole process, right, it plays key orchestrator. Okay, just I want to add to what Amit said.
And I think with Snowflake, you seeing here, I'm not sure you did pay, some of you paid attention to the feature which came very recently in Fabric, that we have the Snowflake and Fabric will support each other's format. So you will be able to see Fabric tables inside Snowflake and Snowflake tables
So
inside Fabric.
yeah, so that is called iceberg format. So we are basically,
Yes.
our OneLake engineering team is directly working with the Snowflake team. So once the data is in iceberg format in Snowflake, we can read it just like in OneLake file. Then they also can read our iceberg format, not Delta, iceberg. Snowflake can read it as a table because we're code developing it. Okay.
So that is the big advantage. And then for Databricks, you might be knowing we have mirroring and shortcut both available, or only mirroring is available right now.
So right now, you can only mirror the catalogs. That's only allowed, right? So once you mirror the catalog, now you have to pull the data, right? You run the compute to pull the data. Okay. Right now, there is no like iceberg table kind of shortcut, but only catalog. So once it's cataloged, you just do direct pull the data on demand. Yeah.
And then we have a strong integration as usual with Microsoft services like Excel, Team, Power Platform, Copilot, and wherever you go in Microsoft Fabric, you find a Copilot. Means you can write the Dataflow Gen 2 code using Copilot. You can write down, create Power BI visualization using Copilot. You can write down PySpark code using Copilot, SQL code using Copilot. You can call the your AI algorithms into the notebooks, and then you can create your own algorithms which you can use and analyze your data using that, and can again merge it back with your original data to analyze it in Power BI. So all those things are also available, and again smooth integration with all the Azure AI data factory or data foundry things are available here. Okay, so how do you enable Microsoft Fabric? Still 60 days trial is ongoing, and some of us has enjoyed the 60 days for last almost 2 years. Sunil, we have enjoyed
Yes.
2025.
Yes.
You
Yes.
launched it on
Yes.
20. Yes, 23rd May 2023 is the launch, and we still have few days left out for the trial. So we almost enjoyed it for 2 years. So this is not 70,000, 17,000 for us. For us it's many. I think we saved around every year 80,000 dollar for that. So more than 180, 70,000 maybe we have saved. So that's a lot of saving we have done. But yes, it's still, if it is a 2 month trial, you would still be able to save $17,000. Try, but yes, definitely your organization should have not started a trial in the past, and there are limitations on how many trials you can start. But yes, you can use this to start your free trial.
I know this of the attendees are from India and South Asia. This F64 $17,000 program, right? One of the gracious offering from Microsoft to the world. I've been in the data world, data engineering world for many years. Nobody has offered this comprehensive workload. So working with single capacity model, with a single data storage model, being open standard with Delta now, Iceberg, all things of data engineering is very hot nowadays. Everybody's talking, right? But this kind of thing, right, is so unique. We're giving an opportunity to anywhere in the world, right, to learn the data engineering skills, get acquainted with each of these, whether it's AI, whether it's a Power BI, whether it's real time, right? Everything, all working in a box.
Yeah, and again, you have OneLake File Explorer, just drag and drop, and the data is in OneLake. And you have to understand Delta is an open format. So there are many things which can write in Delta format. It's not that Microsoft has to give you a code to write in Delta. PySpark is writing in Delta for ages. You have this open format, and which makes it a little easier to work with. And then Delta format is a time travel format. It means we will be able to go and check what was my data in the past. You will be able to see what is your data and how you are actually reaching to the current stage. We have pipelines, we have connectors, we have Dataflow Gen 2. This is the main part what we consider under data factory, but you do have, as Sunil already explained, mirroring, copy data. So whenever we are bringing in data from the other sources through the Microsoft Fabric, typically that category falls under the data factory in Microsoft Fabric.
So event streams comes under real-time intelligence workload,
Real-time, yeah.
but this event house, right, needs data, right? Then you build the Custo database. Event house for the event stream, right, they need the pipeline to get the data for continuous data.
So event stream is basically real time, but yes, you can integrate it using data pipelines
with the pipeline, and it just allows. Yeah. So whether it's that's the whole thing, right? Whether it's a batch need or a real time need, and do analytics. The data factory, like the pipeline and the Copilot gives you the entrance, to all these things.
So how we have everything in Microsoft Fabric. So in Azure, you have Azure Data Factory, Synapse Link, Preview integrated. And self-service data preparation with Power BI, you have Excel, Power BI, Office 365, Dynamics 365, and Power Platform. And this combination in data factory in Microsoft Fabric is integrated SaaS application, no code or code tools, Copilot and AI powered, and open source. So this is what data factory is bringing you in Microsoft Fabric, best of the two worlds. So data factory in Microsoft Fabric, AI powered data movement, orchestration, transformation. You can bring in data from different sources. There are few of them given here, but there are 200 plus sources which are supported other than generic sources like REST API, ODBC driver, OLEDB driver, which can bring in data from quite a few other set of sources which are not supported. And then you have data pipelines. You can use Dataflow Gen 2 for transformation. You can use SQL. If it's a real time, you can use KQL. You can use PySpark, Scala, Spark SQL, all those to do the transformation. And then for visualization, we have Power BI. You can even visualize in PySpark or Python using the Python libraries. Data scientists do use that a lot.
One of the, see, if you look at a previous chart, right, or what Amit showed, right, and at actually foundation, you have all the data sources, right, and at the top you see all these workloads. So which tool allows you to actually combine, everything, right? On this left side you have the sources, and the right side, you have these consumption layers, right? Pipeline. So data factory gives you that capability in a visual way, in a no code, low code, full code way to put things together. See, being data engineer or whatever, or you want to be, or an AI engineer, your biggest challenge is, guys, all the resources. I need to do, this real-time transformation here, and I have to run a KQL query. What Amit said, right? Oh, I have to do, this PySpark notebook, I have to run this much, right? Or I have to do some Spark-based orchestration. Okay, that is done. But now because I'm SCD2, I have to store there in somewhere in this silver layer, and I have to do some quick merging, or like urgently, using Dataflow Gen 2, some big business user to do some couple of transformation on a couple of tables before you do the gold layer. All these things, right? How will you achieve that? So this is where the data factory comes into the picture, putting things together in an organized manner. We'll talk more about that in the future slides, but I want to just give a pretext of what we mean by data movement, orchestration, the transformation, and to the right side, right? Doing all these things together, you need deployability, using deployment pipelines, using CI/CD, and the observability. Observability is how the pipeline is integrated with the Fabric monitoring, right? With this workspace monitoring, right? How can see whether your pipeline runs, each activity runs, when they finish. Ability to rerun, right? That's very important in today's world. All that comes with data factory. Unless you want to do everything manually, right? One by one with API, you can do that, but that will take you forever.
I think one of the questions you are asking, if you're a student, how can you use the free trial? See, I think for free trial, you do need organizational ID. And there are ways that you can get, a 30-day trial of your office also, which gives you that kind of org ID. And then you can, on that one, you can start the Microsoft Fabric trial. So just search for, I think there is a video from Cube also, how to work on Power BI without organization ID. And there are articles which has been specifically calling how to create that organizational ID. So you get a trial there, and with that trial, you can start this trial. So that is one of the way. But if you have organization or college ID, you should be able to do that if they have started the trial. I think there's a question on masking, which we'll take at the end. And then there is a question, when can high volume of data, any size limit? I think with capacities lower than F64, there are limitations when we talk about data limits for rows or tables. There are certain limits in that aspect, but I don't think there is a data limit overall where we say now, because even for the semantic models, now the limit over F64 has been removed. This is, can be really big data on which we can create the semantic model. So any limitation you want to point out, Sunil, here in terms of
No,
data volume?
no, I know that our data volume, right, is tied to the capacity. Like if you buy F64 capacity, you're tied to 64 terabyte, and if for F256, you get 256, terabyte storage. And but if you look at our capacity modeling, right, we really don't shut you down if you do 256, right? We smooth you down. We give you enough warning, throttling capacity. You can buy more capacity also. It's more storage also that the need. So there are options.
And I think there's a question, can I transform the data while loading into the OneLake? Yeah, I think Dataflow Gen 2 is for copying and transforming together. But yes, you can bring in data pipeline. After that, you have the entire world to transform. You have PySpark, Scala, SQL, T-SQL, whatever you want to use.
Whatever you want to use, yeah. One thing I'll tell you, right? So whether if a data factory allows you to do both the patterns, ETL and ELT patterns, right? Extract, transformation, load, extract, load, transform. We support a stored procedure activity, we have a script activity, all kinds of activities that lets you do the transformation part, depending on if you want to use that warehouse compute for your transformation. You see that the beauty of data factory pipeline is, right, which will let you, do your, if your OneLake data, you want to use the PySpark notebook to the transformation, hey, that's okay, notebook activity. Now you have a Snowflake, you want to do just like DBT, you want to do the transformation using a stored procedure activity. Hey, we also support that. So it's all what your company, your organization is compatible with.
Yeah. So Sunil, from here, would you like to take up and show additional slides from your side,
Yeah,
or should I continue here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can take next 15 minutes. Yeah. So the reason we're going to talk about a shortcut here is before you even use the data factory pipelines and to do all the orchestration, right? What is the easiest method to bring data to OneLake? So that's where the shortcuts come. You can go to the next slide. Shortcuts allow you to quickly build kind of a virtual pointer to your outside storage area and then map that storage within OneLake. So here's the slide, right? How you create a shortcut. You get the files, you have remote data. So this remote data could be your Google storage or it could be in S3. That's fine, right? But you can see, right? So under this OneLake, you see all of them as same. And once it's here, you can write your PySpark notebook to read them as data frames, do all your merging, do a sparse SQL on it, and do all kinds of things, right? So this is the beauty of this Fabric and then OneLake. Amit, we can go to the next slide. Shortcut is just to create a pointer, right? What is the other easiest method to bring data? Amit already talked about mirroring, right? Mirroring is another way, right? You just point, say, okay, here's my Snowflake, here is my Azure SQL. Hey, I want to mirror only three, four tables continuously to a mirror database, and from there, right, I want to do a Power BI right away. So many customers use mirroring, right? I know here you replicate the data, but this is a purpose fit replication. Okay, instead of loading your transactional Azure SQL or transactional Snowflake all the time, right? Because they're heavy workloads, and then for a certain business units, you want again run a query there and pull the data. I know Snowflake will say, hey, you do direct query, but we have seen with customers, right? Loading Snowflake, during very peak times for your reports is really heavy and very expensive, right? So this is mirroring is one of the ways, right? So it's not only that we support Cosmos DB and we're bringing a lot of other sources, right? SQL MI, right? You might have an on-prem SQL. We're going to support Google BigQuery pretty soon, Oracle pretty soon, right? Everything is coming. And mirroring is artifact of data factory. So all these things. So now I think with few minutes left, right? And I have been talking about this, right? And throughout this session, right? Data factory, allows you to put things together, from end to end, right? I've been pinning that sentence all the time. But when you come to the Fabric world, right? How you start? Okay, so here is in a couple of here is in a screenshot which says, right, as you enter Fabric, right, nowadays you see the task flow, right, and task flow gives you a pattern. Okay, how you start, right? So here you can start with a generic pattern, you can start a medallion pattern, because depending whether you are healthcare, whether it's a manufacturing, whether you are a government organization, your needs are different. Some are very comfortable with the generic pattern, right? Some are very comfortable medallion, but as you go to this task flow gallery, for each of those, you will see, right? For I picked the medallion, right? For each of those steps, would tell you what tools you can use. As you see, Fabric gives you ingest data, through many methods, right? Transform the data in many methods, right? Build your goal layer in many methods, right? But which is comfortable, depending on your, your resource, your cost, your skill sets at hand, right? We give all those options, for each of those steps. Okay, you pick and build. Okay, so this is a visual way of somebody, if for architect, okay, or in your company, and you want to solve this problem. Okay, how you start it. So Fabric allows the task flow, and I recommend, right, because I talk to customers all the time, hey, show me a task flow diagram if you've already built. Okay, then immediately I can see what Fabric components they're using. They're using notebook activity, or they're using a push to query activity, or they're doing some merging, right? I can see from this diagram itself at a very high level. Okay, then I'll come to the pipeline, why it is important. Go to next. So again, right, so you start with task flow, right? So task flow will actually end up with in the what, right? Ingestion, transformation, and loading, or ingestion, load, and transforming, right? So again, so your next question is, can I use something out of the box? Okay, I need to put these things together, right? How I start? So if you go to Fabric Data Factory, right, we give you all these templates out of the box, right? In that you give you patterns, right? A copy activity, and then a notebook activity, copy activity, Dataflow Gen 2 activity. You have a lookup, and then for each, right? Because most of the time, you have to look through these files and constantly, copy the data or transform the data, right? We give all these patterns, out of the box. So here you just, in this template, you just instantiate the template and then give your connection information to your, whether it's ADLS Gen 2 or like, OneLake table or your warehouse destination, doesn't matter, right? And boom, you see a pipeline built. Okay, so we recommend, after the task flow template, use the data factories, these templates, right, to get you, going very fast. Go to the next slide. So here, right, if you see, right, I'll go for easy to difficult, right? So Power Query, as you know, right, that has been there for 10 to 15 years in the market, right? This is in a very low code, no code, data prep tool, very very popular, with the Power BI community and citizen data integrators, right? It's pretty visual, right? You load the data and do your transformations, or you want to do any kind of profiling, data quality check, right? And with actually Dataflow Gen 2, right, you can quickly now write to destination, whether it's a lakehouse, whether it's a warehouse, whether it's pretty soon the SharePoint files, right? So we are really doubling down on this low code no code way of not only ingesting data with the get data here, right, which is already there, and also transforming and loading, right? So this is our vehicle that if in your company, right, you don't have a coders, and you have given this hundreds plus our connectors we have, right? We want to pull the data and do some data transformation, right, and then load, right, all in package. This is the way to do. And again, this is a part of Data Factory. Go to the next. So this is right. So this is a screenshot of how you put things together with your Power Query, right? Dataflow Gen 2 has Power Query, and if you open up, right. So if you look at this, right. So so there is a source, there is a transformation, and then load, like, and then you can have multiple this this Power Query sources, transformations, and you can manage them all together. If you come here, right, that is the that the way to use the Dataflow Gen to bring the data, right? Another big thing, right, what we offer is called pipeline copy, right? Pipeline copy is this comes from Azure Data Factory copy. This is very high performance. Somebody there was asking that, hey, I want to move so say 5 terabytes of data, right, from some to OneLake, right? How do predictably using using and then while monitoring, then this move this terabytes, maybe petabytes of scale data, right? So that's where the copy comes into play. Okay, right, and then this is widely used to bring data into, OneLake, right? So here are the, some of the tips, right, which we share, with our, with our customers and with our partners, right? Copy activity, right? We usually talk about the CU, right? The capacity unit, right? Everybody should be aware, right? Whether it's a copy engine, whether it's a Dataflow Gen 2 engine, whether it's a Custo engine, everything inside Fabric consumes capacity, right? So as you run these workloads, right? You consume capacity, and then when you move the data, right, say to a data warehouse, right, within Fabric, right? Even even you move to a Snowflake or whatever, right? You enable staging, right? And and then one thing what I've seen is, pipeline allows you visually, set your partitions at source and destination and move the data at very high scale. Because remember, right, getting data into OneLake, right, unless you partition your source properly and do parallel copy, it will take forever. And pipeline copy within Data Factory, right, allows you, that visual control of the partitioning is so powerful. Without that, right, if you write this in code, you have to find the partitions, you have to look at all the columns, you have to find all the metadata, and then you have to do it with that right? We'll just allow you to do it visually. And another thing, copy data assistant, right? As you go to the Fabric Data Factory pipeline, right, you just drag and drop. We have copy data assistant. You do a click a source, you click, you do preview the data, and give you a destination, pick whatever destination, and then you control your data mappings, and boom, you click the run, it will start copying. Okay, very easy way, to move the data from a source to a destination at a very high scale. Okay, yeah. Go to the next.
Yeah, while I'm going to the next, there is one question I think I will take up that because there's a very less time left out. Does OneLake architecture support scalability in multi-regional and multi-tenant enterprise? How it works there? So I think multi-region is at the workspace level, isn't it?
Yes. So if it is multi-tenant, it means, you're moving the data between tenant to tenant, right? If you've authenticated properly, right? We should move the data. So here, suppose the copy engine, suppose I'm copying from, my tenant to your tenant, right? I'm moving the data means, I will scale, to write to, you don't do anything, in your tenant. Okay, we take the copy engine takes that the capacity. Okay,
yeah, we can come to the slide.
Okay, so again, right, I talked about, right, see the things that comes with the copy settings, right? This is the power of, again, this I want to put here, right? With the Data Factory, all this, if you look at our copy activity, right, all these controls will give you visually, and imagine doing that inside code or like any way. I know that there are our competition tools, right, Databricks and Snowflake and others, right? But who gives you this capability? You can actually, you can give these parameters and run it at scale. Oh, you're not happy, you can again tweak the parameters, okay, and run it. This is very, very powerful. Okay, again, this is okay. So that I wanted to just share this. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So one thing, right? One of the big need in today's world of what like Amit talked about, right? In AI, BI world, right? One thing is, hey, you want to run a Dataflow Gen 2 activity, which is all in one, or use a copy activity, or which moves the data and does the transformation with pipeline. We want to trigger those things only at a certain point, so in Data Factory, this pipeline is natively integrated with the real-time hub, right? So any real-time hub in pipeline in Fabric allows you to capture events, right? Whether it's a storage event, right? Some file arrived, or some OneLake file, arrived, right? OneLake storage, right? You can trigger pipelines and you can set that thing here. Okay, it's very, very powerful to orchestrate, your end-to-end pipelines, right? Depending on the events. Okay. Go to next.
And I think we are already on the top of hours, so We'll just explain you a couple more slides and we'll take one question and then we'll wrap.
Yeah. And then not only the event driven data movement, right? We also allow the incremental data movement. We already talked about a mirroring. Go to the next slide. Yes, well, let us go. You can go to the next slide. We talked about a mirroring. Okay, already we talked about this, and there's another in addition to mirroring, right? We allow copy job. Copy job is like more like a copy data assistant, right? This is no pipeline driven, right? I showed you the copy settings and how can you do in the pipeline manually, but this is more a copy job is kind of point-to-point data movement at scale without you doing pipelines. We do the pipelines in the background. Okay, this is very popular. It's newly released, and we are going to support change data control, CDC with copy job pretty soon. Okay, go to next slide. And then our Apache Airflow, right? We support Apache Airflow inside Data Factory. We've seen customers using Airflow quite a bit, right? To do their own orchestration of DAX, right? Ingest, transformation, and the load. Now we give you that Airflow compute, Airflow activity, within Data Factory, right? To do your data movement, transformation, and then loading, right? So I know Apache Airflow is available with AWS, Google, and everybody. So this is Data Factory, right? Allows you, to run your Airflow DAX, which again, brings the data to OneLake and your transformations. Okay, that also is support. Okay, go ahead next. So this is a DAG, right? How it looks inside the Fabric. Okay, yeah. Go next. And not only that, right? For see what I've seen in the field is customers sometimes want APIs, parameters, and deployment all done inside outside GUI, right? We also support that, right? So pipeline edge APIs, right? Or copy job edge APIs, mirroring edge APIs, right? You can all do if you have the right authentication and token, right? You can do that also, So again, this is to make you successful, right? Data Factory wants to make you successful, whatever way, whether UX way or API driven, right? You can adopt either way, right? And you can achieve your, ETL and then ELT goals. See, I talked about this AI use case, right? I know Amit also talked about it, right? So we go to our template, you can reuse existing template for Azure AI use case. See, most of what I've seen, most of the Azure AI Foundry APIs are web activities, and we support web activity inside Data Factory, right? You pick a template and any web activity, you convert it to an Azure AI Foundry web activity, boom. You have your AI pipeline, ML ops pipeline, everything is there. Okay, see how good it is. You don't need to invent anything. I just wanted to give that example. Go to the next one. So again, so this is real production Fabric pipeline use case. You can see, right? You see left to right. We were talking about this left to right pattern, right? And you can see how Data Factory is there in every stack. Okay, we're kind of the basic orchestrator, and we do the basic high scale ingestion, and we orchestrate the transformation in the silver layer, and depending on your need, right, load to warehouse or you manage your shortcuts or whatever in gold layer, whatever help you need from Data Factory, we give you that. I think that's it.
Yeah, so I think in the interest of the time and other session, we'll take up one question. I think this question has been posted twice, so I'm going to take this. What are the best practices for being for the data masking using Fabric when the team work across multiple regions? Data masking across multiple regions.
Yeah. So again, right? So if on you the data masking, right? We, as you know, right? Fabric, if you know the data engineering part, right? We give you dynamic data masking, right? As a part of data warehouse workloads, right? Fabric warehouse, you have the data, you can mask the data, right? You can the sensitive data, right? You can mask it, right? Not only that. Right, so that gives you one level protection. We give RLS, we give on top of RLS, OLS, right? We give you dynamic data masking. Okay, that's a recommendation approach. And the second thing is we also, partner, with a company called Delphix, right? We have an API level, Dataflow Gen 2 level, right? Do the masking, then you can write to other tenants, right? We can discuss further on this. What are the options you have? Okay, on this sensitive data and data masking.
Yeah, I think we can have a separate session around it. And I think there are a few more questions, but I think in the interest of the time and other speakers are waiting, we have the last two sessions which are coming in right now. And I think you, thanks of everyone, we have given us a great support, since morning 7 a.m. I see some common faces which are there across most of the sessions, and I really appreciate that, those who are attending those, and I also really appreciate our moderators for last 2 days who are consistently handling all these sessions. And I would like to do a special thanks to Sunil. Every time we do an event, he always comes give us these insightful sessions. He's open to the questions. Every time you ask him some question, he will try to help you out, get the right resources to solve your business problem. So I really appreciate the kind of help Sunil is bringing and Microsoft is bringing to Microsoft Fabric. Thanks a lot, Sunil. Thanks again for giving us such an insightful session, and we will hope to see you soon on more sessions like these.
Thank you, Amit. It's my pleasure. I hope this helped all the attendees. Please, go ahead with Fabric and the Data Factory, and Amit and I are always there, to help you guys.
Okay, and before I wrap up, I'll give you Sunil's LinkedIn ID so that in case you want to connect with him, you will be able to do that. Please join one of the two sessions and keep on encouraging us for doing such events. Your presence is what which is going to make all these events successful. Thanks a lot for staying with us for last 2 days. Thanks, moderator, and once again, thanks, Sunil, always being supportive of community events. Relate, and we will look forward to learn from you in near future.
Yeah, this is morning in California, but I didn't mind. Okay. Yeah, I'll do more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye. Keep watching, keep asking questions in comments, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that you can get notification for new videos. Thank you.